Does AGS grading for Pokemon cards suck? Or is it actually worth it? Today we're taking a deep dive to find out. I'm putting AGS to the test so you don't have to. For context, I've personally graded well over $12,000 worth of cards with PSA in the last year or so, making this a really interesting comparison to the industry leader. And I want to be super clear up front, I am not sponsored by AGS or affiliated with them in any way. My goal here was a 100% objective test and review of their service, just like some of the other Pokemon card related tests I've done on this channel. Throughout this review, I'll be giving AGS a letter grade based on various aspects of their service and the overall process. So, what cards did I choose to send to AGS to test it out? Well, I sent some of my most treasured cards for my entire $80,000 Pokemon card collection. I'm talking about 5 higher end cards I got back as a kid in the 90s. These are from my original collection and they hold a ton of sentimental value for me. Now, they're not necessarily super high dollar cards in today's market, but they are pretty rare to find in good condition these days. My logic here was simple. Even if AGS somehow sucked, I'd at least have these cherished cards encapsulated and protected forever. These particular cards are never going to be sold. They hold too many memories of summer spent with my dad before he passed away. Let's talk about the cost next. I chose the $20 a card service level for faster card return times. AGS does offer different options, but to keep things moving, I won't dive into all of those details right now. I also paid for a bunch of extra services because I really wanted to see what they were and what they were all about. Specifically, the subgrades and 3D map features really piqued my interest. I also opted for the card cleaning service. Remember, these are cards from my childhood collection, meaning that my grubby 10-year-old paws were all over them 20 plus years ago. This probably wouldn't be necessary for modern near mint cards, but I figured it was worth it for these. So, after tax and all the extras I added, I paid $172.74 to grade 5 cards. And with that, let's get right into the review. Now, let's break down my experience with AGS in various categories and give them a letter grade. So first of all, the grading submission process was definitely a B. It's pretty good. The submission process is pretty much the same as PSA's. Their website works well, it's intuitive. You pick your service level, identify your cards, set up shipping, pay, and print off your documents for the shipment. One thing I actually really liked is that you didn't have to pay until later. This meant I could build my submission at my leisure and then pay when it was convenient for me. This might be a little different for folks coming from other grading companies, but I found it quite handy. Overall, a solid B for being dead simple. Next up, let's talk about grading time, aka grading turnaround. I give them an A in this category. This category actually pleasantly surprised me. I am notoriously slow when it comes to going to the post office, and I paid for 20-day turnaround time frame. My submission was received by AGS on June 4th, the cards were graded the very next day on June the 5th, and the shipping label was created on June 9th. The package, sent via USPS, which we all know can be a little slow, hit my P.O. box on June 28th. That's actually 1 day less than the 20-day service time that I paid for. And remember, most grading companies don't actually count shipping time as part of their stated turnaround. This is actually incredibly good considering PSA is currently obscenely backed up, with some orders taking months to get back to you. AGS gets a solid A in the turnaround time. Now on to packaging. As for packaging, it was kind of a mixed bag. The shipment came in a bubble mailer, but the individual cards were very well wrapped in bubble wrap inside. So I actually paid extra for this AGS branded box because I wanted to see what it was all about. I thought the cards would actually come shipped in the box. But instead it was just kind of included in the package. I guess it's like a gift box or something. So overall, it's a pretty secure and safe way to ship with 2 layers of protection around the cards. My only gripe here is PSA usually sends you your cards back in a box and then bubble wrapped on the inside, so I feel like AGS could do just a little bit better on the shipping. So, on to the grading methodology. Honestly, I give grading methodology a solid A here because the grade report and 3D scans tells you so much more about your card than even subgrades do from other companies. It includes both front and back subgrades as well as a laser height map that I paid for. Those subgrades, by the way, are definitely worth the $2 per card in my opinion. The 3D height map is pretty cool and even can show you subtle bows in your card, things that a grader at PSA would probably never really pick up on. The images provided also give you a clear idea of where various defects that lowered the grade are on the card. For example, my Dark Charizard, there was a clear scratch identified. It's much more transparent than what you get from PSA and others. Solid A in grading methodology. So next let's talk about the slab quality. Compared to PSA, BGS, CGC, they absolutely get an A in this category. This is where AGS really shines. Let's be real, PSA slabs are pretty ugly and basic even though they're essentially the industry standard. And I own a ton of them too. The gold on the 9.5 Gengar Prime slab from AGS just gives it another level of class. BGS in my opinion still has the nicest looking slabs, but AGS isn't far behind it and is still a cut above plain Jane PSA slabs in terms of looks. So AGS absolutely gets an A for slab design, making a quality slab that looks and feels premium. So for the graded card value, I have to give AGS an incomplete on this. I tried to find comparable prices for the slabs that I got back, and I found some AGS cards with prices on eBay, but really there isn't that much out there. I'll definitely make an update to this video if I can find prices as more people grade cards with AGS. So now for the final verdict. First, make sure you smash that like button and the subscribe button. It really helps the channel out. And I gotta pay the bills. Also check out the sponsor of today's video, Boxed.gg. They didn't pay the grading fees, I actually paid those out of my own pocket, but Boxed is pretty awesome. Check out my other videos to learn more about how most of my $87,000 collection came from Boxed, mostly before I partnered with Boxed. So the final verdict you've been waiting for, AGS absolutely does not suck. In fact, they're actually pretty good. So would I choose them over PSA for high dollar cards I might sell eventually? Maybe not always. But what they're absolutely great for are cards I want to keep forever in a nice premium looking slab. They're also pretty fantastic for cards where you want a super detailed subgrade report and explanations. If you want to know exactly why your card got an 8 instead of a 10, AGS may be perfect for you. So what are your thoughts on AGS? Or what's your go-to grading company? Let me know in the comments below. And thanks for watching, folks.